Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good to see you all. So I'm going to have to cut this live stream a little bit short, maybe half an hour at the most today. My daughter is coming to visit me for a little bit, so that takes priority, isn't it? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let me say hi. Let me take about 1 minute, say hello to those of you that have been waiting for a while. I hope you've all had a great weekend. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to catch the videos that I put up, you're going to have to probably look for them because YouTube is not recommending almost anything at all that I put up. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's this new AI thing that they're using in order to recommend videos, and it's not that good. Let's see, Amazing Grandma, how you doing? Boone22, how you doing? Evita, how you doing? Say hi to JR if he's not here, and say hi to Poppy too. Scott, how you doing, brother? Cherry's in the house. Elvo is in the house. Who else is here? Diana, how are you doing? Good to see you. Nana, let's see. Nana Anna. All right. Let's see. Let's keep going. And you're all doing very good. I'm only waiting on one person that that hasn't reached me about their silver winnings. And I'll let you all know, since there's not that many of you here, I still have silver to give away. And who knows, maybe I'll give away some sooner than later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away an ounce of silver here or there during my videos during the week. It won't just necessarily be Silver Monday because it's the new year. But I said I was going to give them all away, and I am going to give them all away. I still have more than 20 ounces actually to give away. So check out my videos, ladies and gentlemen. You might get lucky. We've given away a lot of silver so far in the last, 2.5 months or so, or 2 months roughly. Alan, how you doing? Alan Satoshi, how are you doing? Let's see, Lois. Nostradamus is in the house. Army Vet Girl, how you doing? Betty Randall, how are you? Monica, let's see. I said it would be a minute, and that's about all it's going to be. Before I start, let me let you all know I got an email from OUPES, and they're having a pretty good sale, like up to 55% off. I don't know how they do that, but I think they extended their New Year sale. So go check them out. They left me a couple of links. I put them in the description of this video where they're giving their very best deal. So if you're in the market for that, go check them out. They've always been a great company, and they still are. Let's see. Michael, how you doing? Pour with a purpose. All right, I like that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, today I just want to talk to you real quick about silver. So hopefully those of you that are here want to talk a little bit about silver. I think this time may be different. So they've been, the mainstream media has been trying to fearmonger the average person into getting out of silver, but I think it's working in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, I think that the reason that silver continues to go up, with the exception of that there is a severe shortage in physical silver, is that most people start hearing about a commodity or about a stock or about a crypto once it's really, really high. They don't want anything to do with it when it's down there at bargain prices, right? But once it gets high, they're like, oh, maybe I ought to get me some silver. And I remember watching a short clip of a video, I think it was Yankee Prepping, where there was a young lady visiting the coin shop, and she was buying silver for the very first time. And she came in with $40 because that's all she has. So props to her, because most younger people don't even think like that. But she said, what can I get with this? And she was able to walk out of there with a ½ ounce of silver for $40. If you all remember, just a few short years back, 4 or 5 years back, you could have probably bought 2 ounces of silver for that same amount. So does that tell you that silver is becoming more valuable? No, it tells you a couple of things. It tells you that that the dollar is becoming weaker against silver and gold as well. And it also tells you that silver, in my opinion, and I'm going to show you why I think so, has, if it hasn't, it's almost broken away from the paper price. They just can't really control it anymore. Now, having said that, you never know. It might still take a dump, but I'm going to show you the upside of what I think silver may hit and the downside of what I think silver may hit, depending on what happens. I'm going to tell you why I think that silver is going to go to the upside and not the downside. And I'm also going to show you on a chart here. So let's go ahead and get started, because you know me, ladies and gentlemen, I start talking and forget it. Time just goes out the window. So I'm going to go ahead and share a quick chart with you. And those of you that maybe don't make it until later on in the chart, just rewind it, because I'm going to make this extremely simple for you, even those of you that don't look at technical analysis at all, right? So even if you don't look at technical analysis at all, I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible, because that's how I see it. It's in a simple way. All right. Let's see. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, Mario. Mario says, don't want to live in a world with silver that amount. He was commenting that towards, who was it? To a golden God. Let me see. What did golden God say that silver might hit? I'm not sure, but I honestly think that silver in the next few years, if not sooner, is going to hit at least $300 an ounce. At least, if not more. But that's just me thinking out loud, ladies and gentlemen. I show you some of these things that I look at in hopes that you can do your own research as well. That way you can feel comfortable. You said you hope 325. Yeah, I think it will. It may not be tomorrow, or maybe not even this year, but it definitely will hit those levels, especially once the silver price that's manipulated on paper breaks away from the actual physical price. I mean, there is just so much stuff that we need silver for. Almost everything in our lives requires silver in order for us to have those things. And even things that have zero silver in them require something that needs silver in order to make it. So silver, ladies and gentlemen, is I would say the real precious metal. It's the most precious metal, not because there's the least of it on earth, because there's not. You got other metals that are a lot more precious than silver, like gold, as far as how much there is of it on earth, like gold, iridium, platinum, palladium, things like that. Those are a lot more precious as far as how much there actually is on earth. But as far as how much we need it and how much we depend on it, and how much there is usable compared to what we actually use on an annual basis, in my opinion, silver is the most precious metal that there is. And let's take a look at this chart right here. So what I'm showing you right now is, and let me get a number one if you can hear me loud and clear with the screen on here, just to make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Those of you that have been here long enough probably remember a year or two ago where I was showing you a chart, and I was talking to myself for like 15 minutes straight, and I couldn't believe that you all stayed through the whole thing of me just talking, but no voice coming out on your side. So let me see. Do I have number ones? That's great. So ladies and gentlemen, really quick, what you're looking at here, this is the last, what is this? This is about the last couple of weeks of silver action on the daily. And what I mean about the daily is that every one of these candles that you see represents one day. So you'll see here, right here, you'll see that this one says December 11th. All right. So this is actually the last month or so. This is December 11th. And you'll see that this one here shows the 12th of January, which is tomorrow. But that's what time it is in the East. And that's why it says the 12th of January, because the market for the 12th has already officially opened. It actually opened about 3 hours and 10 minutes ago. So if you see here, I have a couple of lines drawn, these two yellow lines, and that's kind of signifying that this formation right here is in a triangle, okay? It's in a triangle. And the reason why triangle formations are important is because they give you a deadline, meaning that by this day right here, approximately, all right, because my lines may not be 100% perfect right at the pixel. So these are just estimations. So if you take a look at the date on this right here, on this line, it says 20 January of 2026. So what this triangle chart is telling you is that by that day, silver, the price of silver is either going to break above this trending line right here, or it's going to break below. And usually the rule on a triangle or an ascending triangle or even a bull flag or something like that, usually the rule is at about 80%. So probably like from here to here, about 80% of the way through is usually when that formation breaks up or breaks down below the lines that you see right here. And then what you do is, or this is what I do. What I do is I take the distance from the top of the line to the bottom of the line off of the candle that has the thickest base. So you see this base right here is real thick. I take the distance from the top of the line where that candle is to the bottom of the line. And if you want to be a little more safe, you can just go ahead and bring it over a little bit. But I went ahead and did that, top of the line to the bottom of the line. And then I go ahead and take that distance and I add it to where I think it's going to break out. Probably around there is where I think it's going to break out. And that's going to give us a new price projection. So you can see that right here where this line ends, it ends at about 97. And it's kind of funny because before I even did this, I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and maybe about a week ago. And I said, you know what? My next target is going to be like between 95 and 98, something like that, or between 92 and 95. Well, right here it's showing that the next target is going to be between 96 and 98. But I would put it at 95, between 95 and 100. That's if tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, when the market opens again, if tomorrow's candle closes above this line. So let's say this gets above this line today, let's say. And then tomorrow, meaning the 13th, tomorrow's the next trading day for silver. If it closes above this line, I'm pretty sure that we're going to end up hitting this target. We may go sideways a little bit. We may go up pretty fast, depending on what's going on with the fundamentals, really also. But my next target would be here. However, one thing that could happen is it may get above this line right here, and it may bounce around and bounce around, because if it gets above this line and you find support, meaning that it closes at least one day above this line, then this line is now support. So what it's going to do is it's going to test that support. So it may go a little bit lower in price, actually. So it may go up and down, and then if it bounces off of that line enough, it's like a springboard. It's like, okay, I'm bouncing, bam, I'm going up, because all of that energy is building up. However, this is the big however. However, if when it breaks below this line, the opposite effect will happen, meaning that we could go down as low as about 60 or so. And I had previously told you all that I can see it going down as low as about 58 or so, because there's a lot of support right here. But there's a little bit of support here around 64 or so. So the next week is really going to tell us a lot. I think that by the end of this week here, like next Friday, it's either going to be up or down. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And then after this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I think, okay? We haven't even started the bull market yet. A lot of people are like, oh, we're in a bull market. I don't even think we've started the bull market yet. I think that we are in the process of completing this cycle of silver, this 45, 50-year-old cycle, however long it is. That's what we're in the process of, is completing that cycle. And once we complete that cycle, let's say we're above 100, that's when I think that the bull market will begin. So that's how bullish I am on the price action of silver. But remember that for me, in my opinion, the reason that you hold silver and gold as well is not really to become wealthy with it. It's in order to preserve your purchasing power. So that's what it's looking like right here. I'm going to show you one other thing. Let me go to a different chart, a different silver chart. Oh my goodness, silver is at almost all-time highs. Silver is at $83.50 roughly. Incredible. Man, that it is moving really good. Isn't that something? So I'm going to go and show you all the weekly, all right? We just went over the daily closes. I'm going to the weekly closes, and look at how bullish this weekly looks. We've had a high, we've had a closing every week higher than the last. every single week. It's slowed down here a little bit, but look at where we're at right now. So if at the end of this week also we close a little bit higher than what we are right now, then that's an extremely, extremely bullish thing as well. And I'll show you one of the things that that maybe worries me a little bit, and that's going to be the RSI. All right. And the RSI is kind of like momentum, right? We've got momentum here, and the RSI looks really good. I mean, it is looking really, really good. Okay. The only thing that's worrisome to me is that the RSI is a little bit, if you take a look, it's above the 80. So right here, or 70 right here, it's a little bit oversold, meaning that, you know, that there's more people out there, or that a lot of people have gotten into the market, and maybe it's time for the market to cool down a little bit. But the thing is that even though it looks oversold, it still looks really, really strong, which is what's leading me to believe that we either have broken away from the paper market, or that we're about to break away from the paper market. All right, so this is the only thing right here that has me a little bit worried. In addition to that, we really haven't retested $50. All right, that as well. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, everything that I'm talking about here is from a layman's perspective, looking at charts and doing a little bit of studying about them. Definitely not from a professional technical analyst, because that's definitely not what I am. But if you take a look at the MACD, oh my goodness, it looks very strong. It looks very strong. It looks like it doesn't want to come down at all. So, I mean, this is looking really good. It looks like there's still a lot of momentum going forward for the action in silver. Okay, and then there's one other thing that I'm going to show you that makes me think that silver is still extremely bullish, meaning that it has a lot of upward potential. And that's going to be the silver to gold ratio. You know, I'm not sure how well it's going to age, but I remember putting a video out, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, saying you're making a big mistake if you trade in your silver for gold now. Because I remember seeing some people on a live chat saying, yeah, I just sold some gold for silver, because they thought that the silver to gold ratio was getting kind of low. And I remember them saying that when it was like at 60 or 61 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. But this is another thing that makes me extremely bullish on silver. And that's that this is the silver to gold ratio. And just to give you a quick explanation on what the silver to gold ratio is in practical terms, if you'll remember back here in May, right around May, okay, late April, let's take a look at the high closing. Okay, right around April 21st of this year, the silver to gold ratio closed at 102 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. And what that means is that if you had gold back here, and we won't even talk about the premiums, because the premiums affect how much silver you can get for gold, and vice versa, by maybe a couple of ounces here or there, okay, depending on who you're dealing with. All right, so we'll just keep it really simple. But let's say that we had taken an ounce of silver on the 21st of April at 100 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, right? Let's say we would have taken an ounce of gold and traded it for 100 ounces of silver. So what's the big deal with that, AP? I'm still left with the same nominal value, just in silver instead of gold. Well, the big deal about that is that if you would have traded 1 ounce of gold for 100 ounces of silver back in April or early May, then today, being that the silver to gold ratio is sitting at about 55, what that means is that you could have taken your 100 ounces of silver that you still have from trading that 1 ounce of gold. You could have gone back and bought that ounce of gold, let's say for 60 ounces of silver, right? Just to add a little bit for premium in there. That means that you would have gotten back your same ounce of gold that you traded in for 100 ounces of silver, but for only 60 ounces of silver, meaning that you made a profit of 40 ounces of silver. You take 40, you multiply it times 80, let's say, that's $3,200. or you would have just kept the 40 ounces of silver in addition to the original ounce of gold that you started with. And this is another thing that makes me very bullish on the price of silver going forward, is that if you take a look at the weekly, this is the weekly, not even the daily. If you take a look at the weekly, ever since, let's see, ever since early November, the 3rd of November, the silver to gold ratio has been going down steadily. It's been going down steadily, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop. And if we go ahead and take a look at our MACD, look at that. I mean, to me, this looks like a broken chart. That's what it looks like. And what I mean by that is that there's no coming back. And look at the RSI. Same thing. It's a downward trend. It's a downward trend on both the MACD, the RSI, and also on the price action. I mean, this thing looks like it's taking an elevator that lost traction and lost its brakes. So that's where I'm at on silver, ladies and gentlemen. If you all want to take a look, let's see what the gold action is doing right now, because I haven't even, gold has just hit a new all-time high. Look at gold. New all-time high on gold. Right now, gold is at 45.77. So we've got and let me see, it hit as much as it wicked all the way up to 45.99. Let's see if we can get that a little bit better. It hit 4,600. So gold hit an all-time high of 4,600 in today's session thus far. Not saying that's where it's going to end, but it definitely did. And you can see this is a good example of what I was just talking about. Look at this, man. This is pretty awesome that this worked out like this. This is a pretty good example. Let's do it on the daily, because I think I had it on the daily. Oh, no, I did have it on the weekly. Okay, let's put it on the weekly then. So if you all remember what I was talking about on silver, on it breaking this triangle, I did the same thing with gold. And look at where it broke out. It broke out almost at the tippy tip. Well, I mean, you can argue that it broke out right at the tip, right there on the 22nd of December. It broke away from this triangle, and then it's been going up a little sideways on the weekly. But you can see that today we broke an all-time high of $4,600. So having said that gold broke an all-time high, and the ratio of silver to gold is still in the 50s, in the low 50s. It's 54, just shy of 55. That tells me that silver is extremely, extremely bullish, and that it still has a very, very long way to go before it slows down. So let's go ahead and remove that off of there. You can look at my ugly mug again. And what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is about 5 or 10 minutes. I have to get going. But go ahead, and if you have any questions at all, put it all in caps. Let's see. Yes, absolutely. Great point. Collect cows and chickens. You know, just to remind you all, I'm a huge silver and gold bug. Why? Because it's God's money. It was put on this earth, in my opinion, so that we can have an exchange of value that is fair, that is honest. And unfortunately, over millennia, you know, the money changers have been trying to take advantage of the average person by, number one, not educating us through the school systems on what real money is, but by using fake money, i.e. fiat currency, Federal Reserve note, you know, you can call that fake money, in order to entrap us. So absolutely. So the first thing that you want to have, I've always said that if you don't have any excess wealth, meaning that if you don't have any wealth outside of having your preparedness plan put together, that it's okay to buy a little bit of silver, but you shouldn't be using all of your excess wealth to buy silver. You should be using it to get your preps ready. And then once you've got your preps how you want them, then you can start dipping your feet in a little bit more. But if you want to buy, you know, a dollar of face value of like junk silver every now and then, maybe once a month or something, while you're still getting your preps together, then I think that's okay, because you still want to be a little bit diversified just in case you need it. Let's see, what do we got here? All right, I'm going to look for a couple of questions, man. I'm sorry that I'm making this live stream a little short. And that's right. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That is true. Marcia, how are you doing? Hello. Thank you very much. Let's see. What about the price on Black Hills Gold? Is it worth anything at all? I don't know what Black Hills Gold is. Are you talking about like gold that you panned yourself? Monica says, would you get rid of some gold and get silver, get more? Not right now. I wouldn't get rid of my gold right now and get silver. So I mean, look, I still think that the silver to gold ratio is still going to go down. All right. I still think it's still going to go down. But me, myself, I wouldn't do it now. I would have done it at 100. Absolutely. I would have done it at 100. What do I think eventually? And I'm talking about like the near to short term. All right. So like maybe within the next year and a half or so, maybe 2 years. I think that the ratio of silver to gold is definitely going to go down to the teens, maybe the 20s. All right. Normally, the average that we've had over the last century or so, I think it's in the 40s or so as the average. So I'm pretty sure it's for sure going to go down to the 40s. But what you have to take into consideration when you're doing a silver to gold trade in order to make a little more silver with the ratio is that there is a premium involved. Like right now, let me show you this real quick. This is crazy. Let me show you what an ounce of silver really costs. Because I just told you that the spot price is almost all-time high. It's 83 and change. But let me show you what an ounce of silver really does cost. Here we go. So right now, oh, look at this. It went over the $100 mark. Look at that. Look, ladies and gentlemen. This is what silver really costs right now. One American Silver Eagle. And of course, that's if you only buy between 1 and 19 or from 1 to 19 and if you pay with a credit card. But most people do. Even if you send them a wire or a check, you're still paying pretty much really close to 100. But look at this. If you're buying 1 ounce of silver, at least from SD Bullion, American Silver Eagle, you're going to be paying over $100. First time I've ever seen that ever. All right, first time I've ever seen 1 ounce of silver, even though it is an American Eagle that has a pretty good, a pretty high premium. And the premium just tells you that there's a lot of demand for it. All right, so right now they're tracking the spot at 80. Oh, look at that. That's an all-time high if that's the correct spot price, unless they added a little bit to it. But they're tracking the spot at 84, and they're selling 1 ounce of silver at 100. That's a $15+ premium. That's the highest I've ever seen it. I think that we are getting ready to switch into a new paradigm. Not right now, okay? Not right now. When I say these things, I don't mean it's going to happen tomorrow or tonight, but we're on our way, ladies and gentlemen. And remember that after winter comes spring, and we are in the midst of the fourth turning, which is the crisis part of the human cycle. All right, so we are definitely headed into a new paradigm, and we're going to take silver with us. I see a lot of people, well, not a lot of people. Every once in a while, I'll see someone say, I can't afford to buy silver. I can't afford to buy gold. There's nothing wrong with that, because I think that God gave us silver and gold, not only so that we can fairly trade, but because God knew that there was a day like this that was going to be coming, where the commoner, right, or the layman, or the working folk, whatever you want to call it, was going to need to have an instrument in order to help themselves and help others when they turned into this new paradigm that we're headed into. All right. So if you were fortunate enough to be stacking a little bit of silver, maybe a little bit of gold over the years, and you were consistent, and even if you were putting away 1 ounce a month, let's say you were doing that for the last 5 years, that's 60 ounces, ladies and gentlemen. And let me remind you that if you took every single ounce of silver that's usable, that we could take from the world right now above ground, right? I'm not talking about silver in landfills, because the day that they start recycling silver from landfills is going to be the day that silver will be already at over $300 an ounce. right? They've conducted a study here a while back, and I mentioned it on one of my previous videos, that in order to recycle silver out of landfills, silver's price is going to have to be at least $300 an ounce. And then to that, you have to add a premium because they're not going to do it for free. They need to do it and also make a profit. All right. So eventually they're going to have to do that because silver is going to continue to run out because we're going to continue to technologically advance. And they're not giving up on this AI stuff with all of the data servers. And I mean, they're going to start building a whole bunch of nuclear plants as well. That takes a whole bunch of silver as well. It looks like countries haven't had enough fighting over the last century. So there's still a lot of fighting going on. And believe it or not, the military uses a whole bunch of silver also. So it's not the demand for silver is not going anywhere anytime soon. All right, let me see. Okay, let me take a couple more questions. Man, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I hate doing a live stream this short. Let's see. Someone asked me, are your chickens being cared for? I hope so. I don't know. They're not my chickens anymore. Let's see here. Full of Hope, how are you doing? Good to see you. I am swapping out a monster box for gold. Okay, well, I mean, that's up to you, right? Yeah, I believe so also. Now, you have to get mentally prepared for the day that silver takes a 50% dump. Right? It's going to happen eventually. Why? Because it's happened before. I don't think that's right now, but eventually it will happen. But I think that right now things are going to continue to go up because the need for physical is so demand. There's so much demand for physical and there's so little supply that I don't think there's very much that the powers that be that control the levers can do in order to stop this. They may throw out another margin hike. You know, they may say, okay, we're going to throw out another 20% hike on the margins, and silver may go down a little bit, but it's going to go back up because the physical need is greater than the paper shorts. So that's what I see happening with that. Let's see, who is this? Army Vet Girl says, thanks to you, Rudy, my oldest just got his first silver order. 6 1-ounce rounds, 2 half-ounce, 4 1/4 ounce, and 10 1/10-ounce rounds. That is awesome. That's his first silver order. He's balling, I'll tell you that much. That's an awesome order. That's great. Tell him Alaska Prepper said congratulations. That is awesome. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you know, here I'm Poor with a Purpose says, is it better for silver coins or is it better to buy silver by the gram? Well, usually the lower that the fractional piece is in weight, you know, like a gram, 1/10 of an ounce, a 1/2 ounce, etc. The lower that the piece is, the higher premium that you're going to pay. So, you know, it's really up to you on what you prefer. I think that diversifying, just like Army Vet Girl's son did, by diversifying, I think that is a good strategy. All right. So, you know, maybe Army Vet Girl, maybe next time. Well, I don't know if he's your son or your daughter, but maybe next time your oldest can get some junk silver, maybe some dimes. That will bring it down even smaller denomination than what the 10th ounce are. So I think it's good to be diversified. But listen, any kind of silver is still silver, you know, and I definitely wouldn't be purchasing like kilograms of silver for everyday use. That's why I think that smaller coins denominated down from 1 ounce to a 10th ounce or even the dime and get some quarters, I think those work great just in case you have to barter. And once you have your barterable silver, you know, like your low denominated coins, then you can start and you have enough excess wealth. You can start stacking your heavier silver, like 1 ounce or 5 ounce or 10 ounces. All right. You can start stacking those. Okay. So you see, yeah, I have a sponsor that does silver IRAs, Alpha Omega Gold. and I think they're great. They also sell physical, right? In the days that we live, in all honesty, I would rather have physical in my hands. Now, there are IRAs. So if you're interested, give them a call. All right. Just look at my last Monday's video. Their information is on there. I know that there are IRAs where you can actually hold the physical in your home, in your possession. So, yeah, I have no problem with that at all. And the reason that I don't have a problem with precious metal IRAs is because if you're stuck with an IRA that you can't withdraw the funds because you're going to end up paying a penalty and then be taxed on those funds, if you're stuck in one of those, I would rather have it in a precious metal IRA than to have it in an IRA that someone is controlling for profit. Right. So you have your IRA or your TSP or your 401k through your job or something. It's usually in some hedge fund or something like that. And someone is managing it for you. Well, those people that manage those funds, they're doing it for profit, ladies and gentlemen. They're doing it. They don't really care too much how much money you make, because as long as they get their commission, that's all that really matters. But when you can hold it yourself, and you know exactly what you have, I think that's much better. Okay. Man, I wish I understood this question. MSG Ras Roots Gardner. Why are precious metals valued in flat currency? It's going to be worthless anyway. Well, really, the precious metal is really not what's valued in the currency. It's really, when you think about it, the currency that's valued in the precious metal, because the precious metal never changes, whereas the currency does. So people get that kind of backwards. It's because they're not taught any better, and obviously schools don't teach this. But when you think about a dollar and an ounce of silver, what changes in value? The ounce of silver has 371.25 grains, right? That is the definition of a US silver dollar, right? Fine silver. That ounce of silver has the same amount of grains in that 31.1 troy ounces as it did from the day that it was created. But that dollar definitely doesn't have the same value in it, because the value of it changes depending on how much the government abuses it by printing more out of pretty much nothing. So why is it valued in that? I understand your question, though. I understand you're saying, why is it valued in dollars when eventually the fiat currency that is called the dollar is going to be worthless? Because that's what we know, right? That's what we know, and that's how we can gauge what the precious metal is worth in your labor. Because right now, 1 ounce of silver, you can buy one at SD Bullion for $100, right? Well, that $100 gives you an estimation of how many hours of labor do you have to give up in order to buy that 100 ounces, right? That's the best way that I can explain it to you. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to bring it all the way down. Then I'm going to go up to the very first question I see. And let me say thank you very much to, let's see, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. United States Dale. Thank you very much for becoming a new member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Thank you. I truly do appreciate you. And I appreciate every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to bring it all the way down, and then I'm going to go up, and I'm going to find the first question that I see all the way from the bottom, and then we're going to call it good, ladies and gentlemen. Someone said copper is a good place to start. Absolutely, nothing wrong with it. How can you avoid the capital gains tax on selling silver? Well, I'm going to tell you one answer that is lawfully correct. Okay, so something that you can do, especially if you're like a half centurion like me, that doesn't have too long to go before he reaches 59 and a half, is I could technically open up a Roth IRA. Okay, I can open up a Roth IRA, and I can trade gold and silver in it, and also I can trade any stocks in it that I want. But since it's a Roth IRA, and whatever contribution I make to it has already been taxed, that means that its growth is not taxed. And when you take your money out of there, when you're 59 and a half or older, none of it is taxed. So you can definitely get a, now check with your tax advisors, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is what I'm tracking. All right, so you can trade gold and silver or trade stocks or whatever it is with a Roth IRA that you self-direct, meaning that you can trade stuff yourself, right? And since the money that you put in there is already been taxed, that Roth IRA was made so that you don't pay taxes on any of the gains because the money you put in there was already taxed. So since with an IRA, you have to wait till you're 59 and a half to start withdrawing funds, you don't get taxed on any of it. So all of the growth that you occurred in that Roth IRA between, let's say if I do one now, 54 and 59 and a half, all of that growth is pretty much tax-free. That's the only real way I can see that you can get away without paying any kind of capital gains tax on your gains on gold and silver, unless you did something that was not legal. Not saying that it's not lawful. I think it's lawful to, I think, this is my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I personally think that it's lawful to exchange any gold and silver that you made gains on and not report it at all. Why? Because gold and silver is real money, whereas the fiat currency that's not real, that's been manipulated, is what's stealing from you your wealth. However, there's a difference between lawful and legal. Is it legal, what I just said that I think is lawful? It's not legal because the powers that be that are supposed to be representing our best interest as their constituents, they see it in a way that it's not our money, it's theirs. So what do? They spend their lives behind a desk trying to figure out ways on how we can take more of their money that we're holding, right? That's how they see it, right? Like look at Washington State. They just passed a law that is going to impose sales tax on gold and silver, 10.3%. Why is that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, when you allow government to get as big as we have as a nation, and most countries as well, they have the power over you. They have the power over us right now. They can do whatever they want, right? But like I said, after winter comes spring, and spring is on the way. But winter's going to get a little more harsher, ladies and gentlemen, before spring finally arrives. Let me see. I saw something interesting here that I think, let's see. I traded 70 bales of orchard hay for 30 ounces of 999 silver buffalo. Let's see, 30. Man, is that a good deal? $2,400 roughly? Wow, that's awesome. I have no idea how much a bale of hay costs. I guess it depends where you live. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. I went over on time. I already knew that I would. I'm going to miss chit-chatting with you here like I normally do for the next 45 minutes to an hour, but I really do have to go, all right? Let's see. Are all goldbacks a good thing to get down? The only thing that I've never really liked about goldbacks is their premium. It's just such a darn high premium. But I would say that whatever has real money in it, and you can hold on to it, and you're not getting it for an investment, you're getting it for the right reasons, as far as I'm concerned. Whatever you get, if you get something that you like to look at, that looks nice, like look at this pretty silver coin. I received this coin from one of my community members, one of your guys's, for Christmas. So look at how pretty that thing is. So something that you're going to hold on to for a long time, and you feel like spending a couple extra bucks on it, I don't see anything wrong with that. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, give it a like. If you did, share it with someone that you love, someone that doesn't know anything about this stuff. That way they can get a little bit of entertainment, number one, all right, with my big ugly hat, but hopefully a little bit of inspiration into researching this stuff for themselves. Because I'll tell you what, you're not going to go out there and buy any silver just on what I say. Hopefully what I say here inspires you to look into it, and then you can convince yourself, hey, I think this is a great idea. Let me dip my toes in the water, and hopefully everything works out. And in my opinion, with silver and gold, everything will work out in the end. It will serve you for the purpose that it was meant to serve. Right. So again, thank you very much. And again, if you could look for my videos in the morning, if you're not being notified, because I'll tell you what, that Gemini AI that YouTube is using, not very nice at all. Not very nice at all, ladies and gentlemen. And let me go ahead and do a little bit of begging, all right, before I leave. If you want to support what I do, I never ever ask for money at all, and I don't want you to send me money or anything like that. But use the links in the description of my videos. If you do shopping on Amazon, use my Amazon link. It doesn't cost you 1 penny more, but it sends me a couple of pennies right out of Jeff Bezos' pockets, ladies and gentlemen. So who would you rather have those couple of pennies? Jeff Bezos or me? Anyways, I'm done begging. Take a look at the OUPES links I left, because they've extended their sales for about another 5 or 6 days, I think. All right. Other than that, God bless every one of you. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I am. Just a second. I got to click the end stream. I am out. You see, I messed it up.